Hi guys, TotallyDubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review on the Creative Sound Blaster G3. Now this DAC can be found for around £50 in the UK. If you live elsewhere or indeed are in the UK, the locally link in the description below will take you to your localized Amazon store. Now before proceeding, I do want to mention something pretty cool about this DAC, and that's specifically due to the Creative's tech support, or the support team that works at Creative. Now I'm not endorsed, I'm not paid in any single way via Creative. I just thought to shout them out. The reason why is because several weeks ago when I got this DAC I encountered a few problems. One of them was to do with software conflicting with the DAC, and the other one was due to my antivirus software not allowing Creative's drivers to be reinstalled after they had been previously installed, if that makes sense. In other words, there was two problems which basically prevented me from using the DAC, so much so that the DAC was no longer being recognized by Windows. Now, due to this feedback that I provided them and their pretty quick and responsive tech support, they were able to fix it. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this in the review is just that it's a testament to Creative's tech support and the support team. And you guys know who you are. If you're watching this video, then kudos to you guys for actually solving it. And the reason that I'm mentioning it personally on this video is because it's pretty cool when you're working with a company and they actually listen to your feedback and then rectify it so that it doesn't become a problem for potential customers. I know it might be in their best interest, but I still think it's pretty cool. Now, with that spiel out the way, I'm sure you're eager to watch the rest of the review, so let's get into it. So in terms of what you get in the box, there's an optical cable and a USB Type-C to Type-A adapter, which I've used for my review because I was testing it on PC and comparing it to other DACs. And there's obviously the DAC itself. Now, as you can see, it's terminated by USB Type-C. It's very much aimed for the console gamers, but again, more modern day computers, including laptops, can benefit from this connectivity over the USB Type-A. Again, if you're using older PCs or if you do prefer to use USB Type-A, you can do so without any sort of loss of quality. Now, the DAC itself is pretty small. It's pretty neat and it's very lightweight, so it's not going to be a problem. It's all black as well and has got kind of like a non-glossy material and kind of like an anti-slip material as well, which is great to see. And you can see over here there's some rubber pads which mean that it doesn't really slide around unlike this side. Now, in terms of the buttons itself, there's a button over here when it comes to the Sound Blaster settings, and this basically is due to footsteps. You can basically enable better footstep sounds. I personally didn't find it to be really that great. It does change drastically in terms of the overall sound quality, so it's not something I use, but of course your mileage may vary. On the left hand side there's a mic mute button, which is great to see, so physical mic mute. There is a mic volume, so plus and minus a scroll wheel. The same goes for volume over here, and then also you've got a mixing and volume toggle as well. Therefore you can adjust the level of speech that you hear versus the amount of audio that you hear in the game, and therefore can adjust it a little bit better. Now, in terms of outputs and inputs, you've got the optical line input over here right in the middle, and then you've got the mic in and then also the headphone out. Now, it's great to see all these ports available, specifically the separation between the mic and the headphones. Now, if you don't have this and you've got a headphone or a headset that has one single termination, you'll need a splitter in order to make this possible. Now, the next thing is the software, and I was pretty impressed by it. Now, if you're a console gamer, you will not see this. However, you can download the app as well on your smartphone and adjust certain settings. All the settings won't be there in comparison to, let's say, a PC user. However, the majority of settings there will be available for you to tweak. And it's great to see that Creative have included such an array of different customizations and sound profiles, and it's just pretty comprehensive. And I like the fact that, specifically given this DAC is only £50, it's great to see that that level of customization is available if a user wants it. I will say that out of the box, I preferred the sound as it is. I didn't want to tailor around with the EQ, different voice settings and everything like that. I just felt that out of the box it was just on its default value the best settings. And this will probably be the case if you just want to plug and play and don't want to play with any settings whatsoever, you can do that. So now let's move into testing. First off came recording tests. Now I'll do a recording test in just a bit, you'll be able to hear it. But I will say that subjectively it wasn't that good. I wasn't as impressed by its recording quality, purely because it's just sounded a little bit muffled, a little bit condensed. So here's the sound demo. The recording quality tests on the Sound Blaster G3. I'm using my Mod Mic 4.0 via 3.5mm jack, which is connected to the G3. You can see right now I'm recording at the highest quality. It's 24-bit 96. It's available in different resolutions as well. And you can see the settings which are available on the Sound Blaster Command app. I haven't changed any of these settings in terms of other inputs. I've left them default, so it's just worth bearing
that in mind. Now continuing on from that, we're going to use voice clarity and going to see how that affects the sound quality. First we can go with noise reduction. Going to leave it on low and then put it on high to see what it does. You can see over here what the actual settings do by pressing the little I button. Then we're going to go and enable acoustic echo cancellation again to see how this affects the sound. Then gonna go on smart volume. Smart volume basically just levels out the sound, and then doesn't mean that you're going to get massive peaks. And then I'm going to go into mic EQ, and then you've got a variety of different EQs. What we're going to do is reduce vocal, improve bass clarity to see how that does. Again, this might not impact that much, but it's just worth bearing in mind you've got all these different settings depending on the mic that you're using, and it's great to see this amount of options over here. You've also got voice morph, which is a bit silly, but if I'm just going to go
on the elf sound so you guys can hear how that sounds as well. Pretty silly, but
anyway, you can have all these options there, and it's great to see that Creative offer all these options for you to play around with. Now, just for comparison, here is my mod mic connected into a relatively cheap USB sound card. You can see it's recording at 16-bit 48 rather than the high resolution 24-bit 96, but hopefully you'll be able to hear the difference between the two. Now, not the USB sound card I've got is not to be really used with its headphone jack output, but you can probably hear that its mic input is actually extremely impressive in terms of dealing with it.
So there you were able to hear a little bit of comparison between the two. Now the USB sound card that I'm using, which is purely for microphone input only, I don't use it for my normal headphone output, is really cheap. It's literally £5 that you can find on Amazon. So you can see the comparison there. I was just expecting a little bit better microphone quality. It's not bad to say the least, but I just would expect a little bit better. The beauty of this over most other like inbuilt solutions like you would find on a console is it'll remove a lot of static sounds, it'll remove a lot of the that type of buzzing that you might hear or the recipient might be able to hear. So in this respect, the Creative G3 does a great job. It doesn't add any static noise, it doesn't add any humming or anything like that. It just, the overall sound quality of the microphone could have been a little bit better. And now we move on to sound quality. Now I was pleasantly surprised by the G3, simply because when I looked at its price tag and I was listening to its sound quality, I was very impressed as to what it did. Now regardless of the software, regardless of the mic input or even the audio quality that you get from the mic, I just was overly impressed. Now it doesn't quite compete with something as equally as portable as like the Cyrus Soundkey, for example. It's very small, but then this can be found for around £80 whilst this is £50. That extra £30 does get you much better refinement in the mid-range. It gets you much better overall soundstage, better width and depth and better instrument separation. But remember, this is £30 cheaper, and furthermore, it's aimed towards gamers because of its microphone and optical output and even its connectivity. And in this respect, the G3 does a fantastic job. So going through the sound frequencies, the bass is there, it's present, it doesn't extend as well as you might expect, but it is present and it isn't overpowering. It doesn't sound overly warm. Yes, it's more of a warm sounding DAC and the mids are a little bit suppressed, but on the whole, it's actually very enjoyable. In terms of the mid-range themselves, it's pretty clear, and yes, as I said, it is a bit recessed and pushed back, but on the whole, it does sound clear, it doesn't sound artificial. And given the fact that you can EQ it as well, you can try and tailor it a bit more to your tastes. In terms of the highs, it's not sibilant, it's not overly ear-piercing or anything annoying, and on the whole, it's just pretty impressive. The soundstage does let it down a little bit, does sound a little bit closed, a little bit claustrophobic, and the instrument separation isn't as good as more expensive DACs, but given its price range, it's actually fantastic. It does produce a very nice overall sound and is a definite upgrade over either built-in motherboard audio or your console sound. So what's my verdict on this G3? Well, quite frankly, if you are a gamer or not, I think this is one of the best DACs under £50. I think you'll struggle to find a better sounding or more versatile DAC on the market. Now, be it from its input, be it from the fact that it's got chat mix, the fact that you've got a microphone input and also a mic mute switch there, and also an optical line input, this just basically means that this is a fantastic DAC for gamers, specifically if you're on console. So very much as the title suggests, is this the best DAC for console gamers? Absolutely, I really do think it is, because It's one that is very portable and also very versatile, and one that's very inexpensive for you to upgrade your audio quality. Now, as mentioned before, there are better DACs out there, but they will cost you more money and won't be as geared towards gamers, specifically because of the microphone, the lack of a microphone input. It's completely up to you. If you're more of an audiophile, then you might want to look at spending a little bit more, or just, you know, want to spend more money, then get a better DAC. If you are very much on a tight budget, you're an audiophile, or specifically you're a gamer, then you're going to really love the G3. I can tell you this from a gamer and someone who loves listening to music, that this DAC does a fantastic all-round job. So that's pretty much it. That's my honest, unbiased, unpaid review on the Sound Blaster G3. I think it's a great product, but let me know in the comments below what you make of it, or indeed if you own it. That's been it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Take care and bye-bye.